Hello accounts people, time to have a look at the spreadsheet section of the level 3 Synoptic exam for AAT. We'll do task 2.1 and 2.2 in separate videos this time. So the changes then, as of February sittings, section 1 no longer has indirect tax in it. The new version has no changes to the spreadsheet syllabus, in other words section 2, but it's now combined into two tasks, and apparently there's less duplication, but there is also less time, which could be a problem. So far everybody I taught properly, as in start to finish, has passed first time on the old syllabus. Some of them were only just, but they passed, so they were fine and quite happy. What I have done though is taken quite a few additional sessions with students either taken over from somebody else who taught the group, or they hadn't passed first time, and it seems to be down to bad technique. This is endemic. Quoting, "We were taught this way at school." Well, yeah, well, they're still arguing with me about that and my 30 years of experience, and strangely enough some of them still haven't passed their Synoptic exam. Incidentally, there are no school teachers with 30 years experience as spreadsheets for accounting. There's nobody around who spent so many hours typing in cash books and invoices as accountants. So this difference is down to the technique and the practice. Learning the formulas is one thing, but technique and practice seems to be what's causing the problem in the actual exam. In particular, overuse of the mouse. You'll see me minimising the use of it. It's very bad health and safety. You might not feel it when you're a teenager or in early 20s, but using the mouse a lot means that your spine often moves off the straight, and by the time you're 30 something you'll wake up with a stiff neck and your shoulders will start to hurt. If you can get into a good habit, use the keyboard to select shift key and arrows instead of the mouse. It's okay for a couple of cells, but not for, especially going off a page. That's when you need to use the proper technique. Shortcuts like Control R for filling in the formula to the right. Select exactly how you want. That's an accuracy issue more than anything else. And Control D for filling the formula downwards. That's also the only accurate way of doing that. There are other shortcuts, but they are accident prone. Typing cell references. One of my biggest battles was to persuade a student to stop clicking on cells when she wanted them into cell references, because immediately having done that she'd throw her arms up and say, "Oh, it's all gone wrong," and that's because she was clicking in, and just typing in the cell references would have solved the problem. She did pass though. The most accurate way of using a spreadsheet is the fastest. You don't want to keep correcting errors, then it takes longer. So I've already taken a bit of a shortcut here. What I've actually done, here's the spreadsheet ready to work on the actual one we're starting to work on. What I've got here then is a copy of the instructions. So I right clicked on assignment tasks, made a copy of it, and then moved it into its own workbook. That allows me to have them side by side. It's not perfect. I'd love a monitor that's another, I reckon 10 centimeters wide, and it would be perfect. But this is better than trying to click from here to here for every single instruction. Practice this before you do the exam. It's optional. The other thing that's also optional, a lot of my students have decided they like to highlight as they've done. Well, we've got the original budget one open, so if we highlight that in a nice bright yellow, we know where we are, and that'll save a few seconds coming back to it. We know we've done it. I'm not going to do any more highlighting though, so let's follow the instructions then. So D1, formula to calculate percentage by which to flex the original budget. I've actually done that one. So what I've actually done here, again to save time, it's formatted as a percentage, however it's a whole percentage. I haven't yet made it 2 decimal places, so I would have lost a mark there. The formula, if you just do the difference, so 6,000 minus 5,000, so the difference between their actual and their budget, and divide that by the 5,000, the base figure, you will get 20%. But actually, for incorporating into the formulas down here, much better to have 120%, so I've just simply added 100% to it. Both ways are fine. They will all get you full marks. So now I can do my first formula. So C5 times D. Could put the dollar sign in front of the D. It doesn't make any difference. Make it a full hybrid, sorry, a full absolute reference, but actually a hybrid one will do fine because we're simply going vertically downwards, so we need the $sign in front of the number. Don't get carried away though. Notice we've only got variable overheads down to there, and I've done this a couple of times on practice because the fixed overheads do not need flexing. So therefore they are only just a straightforward copy of the formula or the number, so C14 and C15. So we've flexed it, we've done that, so now we need the actual results to come in. That's just simply a pattern already highlighted to save time. Control V will do fine because we need to paste the numbers in. Just be careful not to paste a link because then it will update things, because we're going to do things with this sheet afterwards. Do what it tells you to, there won't be any problem. So don't paste link. It will update paste links when we do something with it later. So calculate the operating profit figures. So here we go. So operating profit, more than one way of writing in this formula. My preference will be to do this version, so C5 minus the sum of C6 to C15, partly because I can actually see what's happening in front of me. It's put in boxes, blue C5 minus some C6, it's in coloured as well, so I know I've done it right. I know I've got the right references. No, that's the right answer. So 33,000. I could check that on the calculator, of course. No harm. And there we are. Fill the formula across to the right. So now we're on to our actual variances. So go back to your knowledge, of course. This line is revenue, and it's favourable because our actual was more than our flex budget, so we just need to make sure it comes out positive. Again, I'll type the formulas in, type the cell references in, it tells you cells you're dealing with. But we need to go the other way around for all of our costs. So we've got a couple down there. Does it make sense? These are all costs, and that's our profits. Now here, so let's have a look in a. So we're in formula F16, the operating profit variance to total cells F5 to F15 means it doesn't want us just to fill the formula across, it wants F5 to F15, so we're actually going to add them up. $16,200. We can of course run that. 16,200, 89,800 minus 73,600 is 16,200. So that's okay. So when it tells it to put an if statement in cell F18, if it's the difference between the flex and the actual results, wording only, no formulas, just agreed and check. That's nice and easy. So possibly best on this one to use the wizard. So logical test, it's an operating profit, so it will be E16 minus D16, and if that equals F16, notice it doesn't highlight the cells anymore for us. So if E minus that equals that, because it's positives, if it's true, just need to type in the wording. and it knows its wording. There we are. We can check it doesn't file up, because if you put a different number in, as long as we remember to go back, of course, Control Z to undo, we're checking our if statement actually works. Freeze so that A1 to B16 always visible during scrolling. Different ways of freezing. I'm not a big fan of freezing. I've spent 30 years splitting windows, but if it's A1 down to there, we need to put the cursor in G, or A1 to B16, so actually not there, A1 to B, there, that's what we need. Put underneath it, so we're going into C17, and then freeze the pane. So as we scroll, that stays there, and as we scroll across down to B16. Other ways of freezing, sometimes you freeze just the top few rows, click underneath the row, but notice that was the last one we wanted frozen, so we actually put the cursor here. So back to our instructions then, so that's that part done. Target profit then, the banker said we're not happy, you've got to make more profits. 89,800, it's a profit, it's nearly 10% of sales. A greedy bank. 95,000, and we're going to have to negotiate with our material supplier. That's our biggest single bill, and we're going to reduce it. When I was in industry, we always paid the lowest prices. We wouldn't have had to worry about this. It wouldn't have gotten lower before the goal seeking. Okay, so what we're going to do then, it's the goal seek function. I teach my students to practice this one on a grade calculator. Copy the original data not into the goal seek, so all the data. So with the freeze cells in, it's quite awkward, so you're better off just paste the whole lot in. Notice it now has lost its freeze pane, so that's fine, and it's this one that we're interested in. Not pastelink. Pastelink will update the other versions if you use pastelink. Your original one will change. We don't want to change to our original. That's why we're messing around on a separate worksheet. So we need to change the cost of direct materials to make 95,000 profit. Click into there first. Don't have to, because you're typing in the reference. Data, it's a what if. Goal seek, different places, different versions of spreadsheets. Because I've minimised this, we haven't actually got it on the tab. So E16 is already selected. We want it to be 95,000, and I'm going to change the materials fee, which is E8. But before I click the OK button, I'm going to do a print screen. Then I click the OK. It does it for us. Then into the screenshot. Then paste. I could have actually done Shift and print screen, and it would have just kept that little bit, but that's fine. And we've accepted it. Screenshot. Yep. Actual. And of course, because we didn't paste link, that stayed the same. Otherwise, it would have changed. Just like the one in our goal seek, where we've now got variance of 21,400, and that is task done. That's the first bit. So just save it, of course. Make sure it's properly saved before uploading it.